NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Nights 1 and 2, the predictions video here for you now on SCW here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. On the road to 1,000 subscribers. And just to let you know, before we start off proceedings on this video, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to go through night 1 first of the matches and then night 2. If you want to go to your favourite match, you can see in the chapters below in the descriptions, go straight to your favourite match. But without further ado, let's go straight into it then with this TakeOver night 1, and it's looking pretty stacked to say the very least. I'm going to start off with the Vacant Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match. We've got MSK, the Grizzled Young Veterans, and we've got Legado del Fantasma rounding off here. Of course, Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan no longer Tag Team Champions. Burch picking up an injury a couple of weeks ago on NXT TV. So the belts are vacant. I'm going to see who is going to be walking away here as the new champions. Remember, MSK were the Dusty Cup winners. Of course, they beat the Grizzled Young Veterans in the final. Of course, the Veterans actually cost MSK their championship match on March the 3rd. So there is a little bit of strategy that goes into this match. And I do think it was always going to be a triple threat match. But looking at this, I think Legado del Fantasma are there to make up the numbers. I think already it was always meant to be Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch in this position in the triple threat, so I think it's just a straight replacement. So MSK is, I think, will be the favourites in this match. But if you want my honest opinion, I think it's always more fun when the babyfaces are chasing the championships. The Grizzled Young Veterans, for me, would be more entertaining at this point if they were to come in and win those championships, with MSK then having to do the chase afterwards to win perhaps them belts at the following TakeOver in some sort of circumstances. Maybe a certain gimmick match could happen. I think these three teams actually together would be fun in a ladder match at some point, but obviously not to be on this particular show. We have a ladder match taking place obviously on night 2, which we'll discuss later in the video. So to give my prediction anyway, I think the Grizzled Young Veterans are going to win here with MSK chasing those championships. I think it's going to be more fun that way, and I think it's just another layer of that story. Next, let's look at the big one, shall we? Let's look at the main event on night 1 next. Let's look at Io Shirai defending the NXT Women's Championship against Raquel Gonzalez. And for me, this has been such a fun match. It's been building for so long, it feels now. It feels almost inevitable that this match was going to happen. I mean, Raquel Gonzalez picked up the victory over Io Shirai in War Games last November. And of course, quietly, Raquel has been building up a victory after victory since, of course, sending Rhea Ripley to the Royal Rumble and obviously to Raw by beating her in the last women's standing match. And of course, not just winning the Dusty Cup, the first ever on the women's side with Dakota Kai, both of them becoming the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, I know it was only for an hour, but still, that is a first, and you can never take that away. Raquel has been on a roll, and of course, since losing that match, Io, actually on the same night, beat Toni Storm, closed that rivalry off, said she wanted Raquel Gonzalez. She can see that Raquel was on a roll, and I love the fact the story is built up on NXT this past week as well. No matter what Io does, Raquel knocks her down. It was almost like a night-long thing that Io just kept coming back for more. She wasn't going to stay down until she knew she could take Raquel Gonzalez off her feet, which she did at the very end of the night. Of course, that fantastic springboard high cross body off the top rope to the outside on Raquel, and of course about, 20 other jobbers, people we've not seen on NXT TV before. So yeah, that was really fun, a great way to build this match, and to go into a match, a prediction itself. Io Shirai has been NXT Women's Champion now since last May. Of course, it was the In Your House takeover. It feels like it's time, doesn't it? Raquel Gonzalez has been groomed as a top main eventer for NXT. It feels like she is the dominant one, and I always say 50-50 booking in WWE. Who looks strong at the end of one week, it tends to change the next week, and although Raquel was strong throughout the entire evening on NXT last night, Io Shirai was the last woman standing, and I wouldn't be surprised if that actually happened as a stipulation in a rematch somewhere further down the line. But for my prediction, Raquel Gonzalez will be your next NXT Women's Champion. Next, let's look at the United Kingdom Championship. Yes, Walter is going to be in the house, and I can't wait for this match against Tommaso Ciampa. The only thing that's a shame with this is that NXT is a 2-hour show, so we know it can't be a 45-minute classic that I think these two could throw on pretty darn well. For me, looking at it, I think there's a few interesting points about this match. I mean, Walter being in the United States is one. It's Imperium at full strength. Will the rest of Imperium get involved? But Tommaso Ciampa's had a team and a friendship with Timothy Thatcher as of late. Timothy Thatcher has been missing for the last couple of weeks, along with Alexander Wolf as well. There was cries for Timothy Thatcher to be a part of Imperium, which of course nothing more has come of that since. Killian Dane was another one being, touted as well by Alexander Wolf. So I do wonder, will we see them two join Imperium? That would be very interesting to see if that was to go down. Maybe it could be, a fun way to actually end the match on TV. I kind of hope it is, though, just a standard one-on-one match, though, with no interference. I'd love to see these two just go at it, because I think it's going to be fantastic. The result for me, though, is not in doubt. I have Walter retaining the United Kingdom Championship. I think the Walter, well, he's the longest reigning champion, but he's just held that belt for so long now. It's going to be a special moment when he does lose that championship, but I do think when he does, it needs to be in NXT UK, and it needs to be on one of those takeovers, not on this one. Next, let's go for the Gauntlet match. Of course, we know that we've got 6 competitors in this Gauntlet, and the winner will go on to night 2 to face Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship. So, looking through it, we know the order as well because it was determined via Battle Royal last week. So, kicking off the match will be Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott. The winner of that goes on to Bronson Reed. Number 4 will be Cameron Grimes. Number 5 will be Dexter Lumis. And last but not least, we're talking LA Knight, and that's not an insult, it's just a fact of life. I can't wait for this to go down. I think it's going to be awesome. My only nitpick, if I had a real small nitpick, is the fact that we didn't have Roderick Strong or Pete Dunne or Kushida in this match, but all for good reasons. Roderick Strong, that storyline's playing out very nicely with him, and of course we're going to actually talk the next match, which is going to be Kushida and Pete Dunne. But looking at this, I think it's straightforward who's going to win this. Dexter Lumis, I think, will be the one. He's not the last person that's going into this Gauntlet, so it kind of fits the bill that this will work quite nicely. Just quickly go through the order how I think it will go. I think Isaiah Swerve Scott wins the first match. I think Bronson Reed wins the second match. Probably Cameron Grimes wins after that. Dexter Lumis wins there, and Lumis wins the final match. Will it actually hurt LA Knight that, of course, he's not winning on this takeover? Arguably. I mean, the thing is, LA Knight, he's already lost in NXT, but it feels like he's going to be around the mid-card area. He's not going straight towards the main event. So, I mean, why not? He's just come in, give it time. I see star power in LA Knight, and I do think at one point he will go towards the top of the card, but there's no rush. There's no need to do it just yet. I think he's actually got a nice spot on the card. So for me, looking at it, I think Dexter Lumis goes on to night 2. I mentioned they would talk about Pete Dunne and Kushida. Of course, they eliminated each other from this battle royal that determined who was going to be in the Gauntlet and the Order. Of course, Pete Dunne has said he's the best technical wrestler in the world, and he actually challenged anyone that had a problem with that to come a step to him. Kushida actually said himself that he was the best technical wrestler in the world, and of course, this led to Pete Dunne taking some exception to that. I'm looking forward to this. Again, it's one of those, I wish that we could have 25-30 minutes on this match, because I do think it's going to be a technical masterclass, but I don't think we can get that. We'll probably get it on about 10-15 minutes tops on TV, but still, I think it's going to be a great match. My prediction will be Pete Dunne, because of course he was the first one to actually pronounce this. This could turn into a long-term storyline if they wanted to. This may be where the technician storyline ends, I don't know, but for me, I'd like to see it quite long-term. I think Pete Dunne should be the one going over in this match. Let's move on to night 2 then of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Let's talk about the Cruiserweight Championship to kick off, the ladder match there, the actual unification match as well, because we've had 2 Cruiserweight champions for the longest time. Of course, due to the pandemic, Jordan Devlin was stuck in the UK or in Ireland. He wasn't able to come over to the States to defend that championship. Santos Escobar, of course, won what was a really fun tournament that was put place last summer. He's held the championship ever since, and now we finally have both of them the same place, the same time, NXT TakeOver, and Shawn Michaels, in the perfect way possible, just made a WrestleMania 10 on us, didn't he? Came out there. I mean, not to say that people weren't interested in this match, but I think it's the cherry on top of the cake. Shawn Michaels just coming out, simply placing the ladder in the middle of the ring there for these two. This is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. My hope, and this is just my hope at this point, Santos Escobar has been a great champion. I really think he's done great work, but the fact that we've seen in the main NXT Santos Escobar be the champion for so long, I'm ready for a change. I want to see something different. If Jordan Devlin is staying in NXT long term, which I think possibly looked like it could have been the direction last year, that would be awesome, and I think we'd have some fresh TV, fresh matches, and I think Devlin could go on to be a star in NXT, but we'll have to wait and see how it's going to play out. I think it all depends on what Devlin's future holds, because if he goes back to NXT UK, Escobar is going to retain this championship. He will be the unified champion, but if Devlin stays around, I think Devlin wins it. So in my opinion, this one is flip of a coin. This could go any which way. There's no obvious answer on this one, but to give a prediction for you here today, I am going to go out and go all out and say Jordan Devlin will become the unified Cruiserweight Champion. Let's talk about, well, it was at the end of night 1. Let's talk about it into the early part of night 2. Johnny Gargano defending the North American Championship. Like I said, I predict it will be Dexter Lumis that will be the actual opponent on the night. That's been building as a rival for a long time, so it does make a lot of sense if Dexter Lumis wants to actually win that match. I think we get a new North American champion here. I mean, of course, Austin Theory tries to help out as well here and there and tends to screw up. The other two members of the Way, Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell, will be discussed in the next match. They're busy on the evening, so I think Johnny Gargano here, I think he's got trouble here. I don't think he's going to retain this championship. I think Dexter Lumis is going to put him to sleep. I mean, Gargano has been champion for quite a while as well. Maybe it's nice to see something fresh and something different. Let's go for a brand new North American champion in Dexter Lumis. Next, let's look at the Women's Tag Team Championship match, and of course we've got Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, of course your champions, taking on the weight of Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell. This should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to this match, and I think given time, this will be epic. But what we must remember is this is a rematch also from the actual Dusty Cup semi-finals, so these two have faced before. At that point, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart did pick up the victory. They haven't been champions for very long, and I would say that if they were to lose the championships here to the Way, as great as it would be actually to see if Johnny actually was to retain the championship and Candice hold the championship as well, see most of them hold gold, I think that would be pretty cool to see. I do feel that it would actually devalue the Women's Tag Team Championships already to have such quick, hot potato title changes very quick into its existence. So for me, I'm going to turn around and say, like I said in the last match, Dexter Lumis actually wins it from Gargano. I think that the Way here are going to be without gold entirely. I think that Shotzi and Ember retain the championships, and we can see all of the Way sulking when it goes back to NXT. Next, let's go unsanctioned, shall we, in a match I probably am looking forward to most of the two nights. Yes, Kyle O'Reilly against Adam Cole. Of course, the Undisputed Era has broken up, and they have done a good job of building this match. There's no getting around it. I mean, Adam Cole, from the initial part of where, he super kicked Kyle O'Reilly at the end of the last takeover, which, let's face it, it shocked the world. I don't think people saw it coming at that moment, even though there'd been rumours of dissension with the UE for the longest time, that perhaps they would break up. I think people had kind of got over the idea, and the point that it happened just when it did, I think really was a special moment. And Adam Cole kept his silence for quite a while, attacking the likes of Kyle O'Reilly, putting him on the shelf, then even attacking Roderick Strong to show that, hey, look, I'm completely on my own here. It's very interesting how it's been built. These two have been fighting, whether it's been in the streets, whether it's been at the gym, whether it's been like Muay Thai or whatever the hell Kyle O'Reilly was doing training wise. This just seems to be, these two can't be pulled apart. And when they had their contract signed in, the words that were put together for this was beautifully done. The fact that Kyle O'Reilly is saying, they came here to just take over, to make a statement, but he's grown as a person. Adam Cole is still that same guy that turned up 3.5 years ago. They've had so much history as well. Like I said, been around each other since 2009 as partners, rivals in Ring of Honor as well as New Japan, as we saw the match from Wrestle Kingdom actually shown on our TV screens as well, which was pretty special to see. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be awesome. Unsanctioned really suits the rivalry. It's just going to be interesting to see who's going to pick up the victory. I really think this can go either way. I've got one or two scenarios here because I don't think the feud is finishing, whatever happens. Roderick Strong is really sad that the UE is broken up. He lost to Cameron Grimes this week. In fact, was mocked by Cameron Grimes of the Undisputed Era breakup, and in fact his eyes were fixated and he said he was going home. He didn't want to partake of a chance of becoming the North American champion. I wonder if he goes back to Adam Cole and costs Kyle O'Reilly in this match. It's certainly something you couldn't dismiss at this point, especially if Bobby Fish is on a way for a comeback as well. We can't forget the UE had 4 members. But I'm going to predict this because, let's face it, I think Kyle O'Reilly could pick up the victory here, and I think it would actually upset Adam Cole for him to do so, and Adam Cole then would have more reason to attack Kyle O'Reilly either at the end of the match or future on NXT TV. Just because Kyle O'Reilly can win the battle doesn't mean he necessarily wins the war. So for me, this can go literally either way, but to make a prediction, I'm going Kyle O'Reilly. Last but not least then, let's look at the NXT Championship, shall we? A match that's been brewing for quite a while. Finn Balor, the champion, against Karrion Kross, and of course Scarlett will be in his corner. TikTok it's been coming. I mean, Karrion Kross was the champion last summer. He won it, the NXT TakeOver 30, if I'm not mistaken. That was the TakeOver he won it at. Had to relinquish it straight away. He got injured in the match with Keith Lee. And of course, then Finn Balor won the championship. And Finn Balor has proven since why it's okay to go back from Raw and SmackDown back down to NXT. You can become a star. You can prove yourself once again that you're not wasted talent, that you are everything that you believe in yourself and more, because Finn Balor has gone back to that level. Arguably, this championship reign has been even better than the first one. You cannot ignore how great Finn Balor has been. He's had some great matches, great wins, and now he's got his biggest test at this point. And I'd even say he doesn't need the demon character. This is how good this Prince gimmick has been, this Finn Balor that we've seen in NXT. But has he been keeping the championship warm for Karrion Kross's return? Now, Kross has been back for a short time. He's had matches with Damian Priest and sent him up to the main roster. Also actually defeating Santos Escobar as well. But Kross now is coming for the championship. And I do love the way that it was put together, where he was standing behind Finn Balor and Finn was like, "What took you so long?" Great fun indeed. But to give a prediction for this match, this can go either way, and we shouldn't ignore Finn Balor's TakeOver record. He's lost one TakeOver match in both of his NXT runs. So Finn Balor wins TakeOver matches. In fact, Finn Balor, since coming back to NXT this time, hasn't lost a TakeOver match either. So this goes to, I think Finn Balor's now got to be on 15, 16 TakeOver victories. It's got to be somewhere around that mark. But I do think the championship is going to change hands here. There was plans for Karrion Kross as NXT champion. I think we're going to see those plans break out. Finn Balor has been an amazing champion. The question is though, where does Finn Balor go next from here? I do think Finn could perhaps even be involved with the Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Undisputed Era mess of a storyline, of what's going on with that. I know I say mess as a compliment, by the way. But looking at it, Karrion Kross then, he can move on to something different as NXT champion. I'm just not sure who would be the next challenger if Finn Balor wants to do it. But there is a slight other thing, is what happens if Karrion Kross loses? Maybe he's another person that goes to Raw or SmackDown. We are in WrestleMania season. Sometimes superstars do show up the Raw after Mania. Bianca Belair did it last year. In fact, she was technically at WrestleMania and was part of the roster the Raw afterwards. So there could be a superstar that could do it. If someone is going to do it, perhaps it is Karrion Kross. But I'm not going to predict that. I'm going for Kross to become your next NXT champion. So that's my predictions there. I'd love to know your predictions in the comments below. Just one small nitpick. I wish Zoe Starks was on this show. I think she's amazing, incredible future star in the company. She seems to get a lot of TV time since debuting as well. There feels to be something there. And I did see a small little altercation with her and Dakota Kai this past week on NXT. Of course, Starks being cost her match against Raquel Gonzalez because Dakota Kai got involved. And I'm a big fan of Kai as well, so I'd like to see him have a singles match. I'm just throwing it out there. I'd like to see that actually added to night one, but perhaps time restraints won't allow it. But anyway, enough of me going on. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoy yourselves, and hope you check out other videos on the channel. Like I say, I can't wait to interact with your predictions in the comments below. And well, check out my other videos. I mean, the Hurt Business, breaking them up was a mistake. If you've not seen it, go and check that video out right now. And of course, we are in WrestleMania season, so videos are going to be dropping on this channel daily. Retro WrestleManias, WrestleMania 37 predictions. There is so much coming up. The Q&A on Sunday as well. And I will be actually spreading my wings and going on other channels as well. So plenty of reasons to keep an eye on what's going on with SCW. I can give you more details as more things are going on as the days go along. But I will tell you now, WrestleMania 37 predictions will be dropping on Tuesday. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching this video. You've been watching SCW here on YouTube.